Today, from the Wise News Network studios, we have Who Gives a Hoot discussion.
Yes, we do.
And we've named it Who Gives a Hoot. And we're going to have a little discussion, just a roundtable discussion on general topics. And we're going to talk about Monday night's city council meeting, which was quite interesting.
Yes, it was.
All it was missing was a food truck and popcorn.
They've got to get it together. They'll have it next time.
Yeah, it was interesting. A lot of information was discussed, a lot of community involvement, engagement. It was a good meeting, I think. And it's good to see all the community involved.
It was a really good turnout. I believe that we even had the overflow, people in the overflow. So
there were people in the overflow.
And just a disclaimer, the popping and crackling is not our equipment. That is the city's soundboard, which maybe they can get some money in the budget for a new soundboard, because when you hear all that popping and crackling, that's an outdated soundboard for their PA at the city. So we apologize for the popping and crackling, but that's not us. So.
Yeah, we did have a few of you ask what that noise was, and that was not us, guys.
For a technical explanation of that noise, it is partially from the old equipment, and also it happens because dirt and technically it's quartz crystals in the dust get into any part of the electrical system there, and that's actually what causes that.
But anyway, maybe they'll work on that. But it was quite an interesting city council meeting on Monday night. I spoke a little bit. Some other people spoke. It was quite interesting. And they gave out some awards, too.
Yes, well deserved.
Donald Alexander got an award for 45 years of coaching baseball in Cherryville.
Yes.
And so that was really, really good to see.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Donald.
Yeah. Also, another award was Jason Day, which we did a segment on Jason, and he was actually a hero and was working on trying to get to that lady where the tree fell on the car at the swimming pool.
Yes, he may not consider himself a hero, but he's certainly a hero in our eyes.
Yeah, yeah. And a little explanation, some people say, oh, it was a tornado, it was a microburst. Actually, the Weather Service classified it as a microburst, but there could have been some vortices in that looked like mini tornadoes.
Which is where people's pictures that do kind of look like a tornado forming would have came from.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a little explanation of that. So it could have been a combination of both. But the overall storm itself was not a tornado. It was a microburst by the National Weather Service. So clear that up.
Yeah, yes.
But, this news service that we have, it's a little bit different than most news services. The reason I started it was, I see all the chatter on social media. And so we're trying to get to the facts, get to the truth, and that sort of thing. And also during the meeting on Monday night, I overheard it, and I know several other people heard Mr. O'Leary say fake news. He classified us as fake news. I heard it, and there's about half a dozen other people heard it. So we heard it, and it's just like an eyewitness. I mean, we can go get eyewitnesses, but we don't feel like we have to do that. We can do that, but we all heard it, and that's fine. When we're called fake news, it means we're doing something pretty good.
That we are.
So anyway, the citizens to be heard, I spoke a little bit, and there's quite a few people spoke. I mentioned, of course, the museum issue, and it's been quite interesting, the museum situation. And I do, if you want to see an explanation on why they probably canceled the original process, which we've yet to hear an explanation exactly why they canceled the original process, but they did cancel it, and it's because it was a mess. The first bidding process was a complete disaster. I mean, it had so many issues.
Yeah, there were inconsistencies in, the legality of it with... You can't have it in that contract to force the owner of the museum, after it's been bidded off, to move it somewhere. That's not something... It's fine if they still want to do that afterwards themselves, but it's not something you can hold them and force it's not something you can enforce in the contract.
Yeah. And, within the 10-day period, there was a bid of $300,000 that was before the 10 days. So that was technically an invalid bid. And then Wise Electric Control had a bid of $263,000, which is a valid bid. But they chose to just throw all bids out. And that's where we are. So they've decided to start the process again with a $400,000 offer, and then that starts the process all over again. Mm-hmm. So a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of just issues with that bidding process. And with the Palmer Hustetler, the city attorney, depositing monies first couple times into his trust account, but that's a conflict of interest because there are clients of his also. So that was kind of an issue there. So there's a whole list of issues with the process. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. And, my opinion and other legal opinions too felt like the process was just not a good process. And that's why they kind of threw everything out.
It's better to just start again.
Yeah, and do it right. But we still have the same people and nothing's changed other than maybe some paperwork, but we still have the conflicts of interest all across the board. So it's still a conflict of interest. So it is what it is. And what else did we talk about that night? Oh yeah, the budget.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we really appreciate everyone, the texts, the calls, people have been leaving messages, really appreciating us putting the budget online, putting information, putting the Piedmont lithium contract online. My opinion is, and this is a roundtable opinion, and this is just our opinion, is I think all government documents, all public information should be readily available on websites, to where it's point, click, and you can see it. I don't understand why you have to go up to City Hall or call them and have them email you something or have them to run you copies off. I think it would save the taxpayers money if they actually did put everything on the website.
Not only that, but isn't there a charge per sheet up at City Hall whenever you get a document, or is it just...
I don't know. I've never been charged. I'm not really sure of that process. I don't know. I don't know how many people actually look at the budget. Probably not that many people, because to go up there and get a copy of the budget, they will email it to you, though, I think. Okay. So yeah. I don't know. It's just, to me, just put it up on the website and be done with it. I think all public documents should be. This is year 2023. Just put it online and make it available for everybody to see. And, just looking at the budget, I brought it up here. It's just some, close to $700,000 just in downtown. And it's just some crazy stuff. I wouldn't say crazy stuff. Let's just say interesting things. And, if you scroll down around page 30 of this PDF, there's just like $15,000 worth of Christmas light bulbs and stuff. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot of money. Bulbs for wreaths and snowflakes, $15,000. That's...
Do we know what the typical city generally spends in this, department?
I don't know. I just know in one public setting, I think it was mentioned they spent $85,000 last year, I think, or a year before on Christmas lights and stuff, which that's fine. But I think in the budget, they keep spending a lot of money on, Christmas bulbs and wreaths and stuff like that. I don't know, which might be needed. I do not know, but I'm just seeing it in the budget, and that's part of that $700,000. In the cover letter by the city manager, they are reducing the multiplier per 100 by 4 cents. I think it's 48
cents.
This
was one of the hot topics.
Yeah. But all government entities say they're reducing the rate. No, they're reducing the multiplier, but all municipalities are basically going up on taxes. And Cherville was 14.7 6 something, I think, percent, almost 15%. And all municipalities are going up on their taxes. But they all do it. All politicians do it. They said, we're reducing the rate. You're reducing the multiplier.
Yes.
But everyone is technically going up on the rates.
And that is due to the value of the housing and property rising in Gaston County. So you have it going up in one place, and then they're lowering the rate at which they're taxing you on your now higher valued property.
Yeah.
So more than likely, this will reflect next year. Travel citizens
Yeah.
will be able to see this.
Yes, and they are, some of that increase is to get new police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of areas are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a good thing that they are adding police officers in some things. So, government has its role in providing services.
Yes.
Yeah. Another hot topic, other than the museum, is the Piedmont lithium.
Yes.
And that was brought up, and that got a little interesting. I thought lightning might strike the building at any minute. It was, there were some Bible quotes, I guess, quoted, and people, HL, the mayor, didn't like that.
No.
And he and the preacher had some a heated exchange, I guess you could say.
If that's the reasoning, why didn't you just release all the ETJs?
Sorry, your time's up. I do have one question for you, Dr. Bean. Do you remember what you sent me the day after the council meeting?
I did, and
Do you remember the verse that you quoted for me from the Bible?
I
Would you
did.
tell me what that was again?
yes, do unto others
No,
as you'd have them
no.
do unto
No,
you.
you said, do not build up treasures and lose your soul.
Yeah.
You have no right to tell me who controls my soul. My God in heaven controls my soul, not you. Please
What the-
remember that.
The verse
thought
I
that
said,
was
I
the
said,
most
Jesus,
evil, talk about evil. That was the most evil thing you could do when you tell me my soul's in jeopardy. My God controls my destiny, whether it be heaven or hell. not you.
I simply quoted a verse where Jesus said, what does it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul?
You're done.
Really the best place to do that, but they did.
But lightning did not strike the building, so we were safe there. So
Yes. You can definitely say that citizens definitely brought their concerns over the relinquishment of the ETJ. The city council did state that they do have Cherville's best interest at hand. So that's what was said at the city council meeting.
yeah. And that, it may be the best thing that they did relinquish it. I don't know. The timing and the optics just didn't look good. It's like, we're waiting, and then you get a contract for $11 million. It's like, oh, okay, now we'll relinquish it. Piedmont Lithium has been around for 6 years now, 7
Yeah,
years?
It's been a while.
And it took them this long to give them $11 million. They just happened to agree to give them $11 million right before the ETJ decision. So that the timing is a little suspect.
It is. And then I read over that contract. I'm not a personal fan of it. It has something. As I've said before, it defends Piedmont Lithium heavily and doesn't give the town of Cherville too much as far as legal defense, other than saying where they would go to court if they had to bring it to court.
Yeah. But we're not lawyers, so we're not giving any legal advice to the city.
No.
So a disclaimer, we're not lawyers
Yes.
and we're not giving any legal advice.
Yes.
We're just round table talking.
Yes.
Who gives a hoot?
Who gives a hoot?
What else did they talk about? We're just trying to go over some things, what they talked about in the meeting, because people are still confused. We're still getting questions. They don't understand the bid process. They don't understand how it's supposed to work. They really don't understand Piedmont Lithium.
Mm-hmm.
There's just the general public, I don't think, understands what's going on out here.
Right. And I can say, based on what I've been told by some of the members of the public, is they actually don't have any clarity from either sides. What would happen if the museum does become a restaurant? What restaurant? If it remains a museum, what happens with the museum moving forward? Will it change? So I've heard those statements from the public myself.
Yeah, and I understand that Cherville Downtown LLC has 27 buildings, and it's kind of logical that they would want this one. I understand that, but I just don't quite understand the plan. There's no concrete plan for it. Like I say, 2 weeks ago, they're still trying to look for a food vendor to go in there, and it's just, I don't know. It's just the whole thing's a little weird to me. If we had a concrete plan, yeah, we're exactly going to do this, or we're going to keep these exhibits, and we're going to do this, I could sort of understand it, but nobody seems to know. And other news organizations have, contacted us, and we've talked, and they don't know. I mean, nobody really knows.
Then another thing that was brought up at the city council meeting is the homelessness issue in Cherville amongst teenagers, which we talked to several people a little bit after the meeting, and it's generally concerning that the city kind of just brushed that off. They didn't really, Boozy got into it, and then they just kind of picked another topic to talk about instead of talking about.
Well, public expression is just, they don't have to comment on public expression. You're just there to talk. For 5 minutes, you can talk about anything you want to, and they don't have to act on anything. I did bring up, I don't know when business is conducted. I'm not really sure when they conduct business. I know they do a lot of multi-million-dollar decisions pre-decision made, it looks like. And I don't know with technology, when tablets and texting, I know the state statute says if you have a majority meeting, if you talk about city business, it has to be in public.
Yes.
Now, what if you have 3 people texting? Is that a meeting? If you have a group chat, is that a meeting? I mean, in today's technology, I mean, you can have a meeting in a group chat. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just a good question to ask.
This is true.
Something that could use a legal update, honestly.
Yeah. Because a lot of decisions are made well before, as you can see. I mean, the Piedmont lithium was made because that was a pre-read statement. I think Malcolm read a pre-statement on the museum, so that was already done. I mean,
and that was one of the concerns that someone brought to the city council meeting, was the fact that some of these decisions are already made beforehand. So,
which, leaves the public feeling like they're not actually getting a voice, even if we do go up there and talk.
And I don't know, maybe the citizens are. Maybe they're not. I know they want people to email them and call them. I think not so much in public expression, but maybe they want people to actually contact them and tell them how they feel.
It definitely couldn't hurt.
And you can go to the city website, and all their contact information is on there.
Okay.
And you can go to our website and see in the public information page, and we're going to continue to put things there as we receive them. And I really think we really need exposure to public documents. It should not be that hard to get public documents.
It shouldn't.
And I see, personnel issues, confidentiality issues. I understand that sort of stuff, but just a general budget, there's no reason for that not to be on there, in my opinion.
I mean, paperless always saves money too.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to be cutting down trees. Had to bring in the Lorax again to save the trees. Oh, me. What else did they talk about Monday night? Mr. Patrick O'Leary did come and speak.
He did.
And Vicky Sperling spoke. Carl Boozy Dellinger spoke. And some other people spoke, I believe.
It was Pastor Bean from Anthony Grove Baptist.
Yeah, he spoke. And I think people are frustrated. And I think there needs to be more transparency, because I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough transparency. I mean, our local newscasts, the Charlotte news people, they do a great job, but they only have 2 minutes. I mean, you can't hardly get a story out in 2 or 3 minutes.
That's true.
And so our newscast and our company here basically is all across the board, and people have really appreciated what we've been doing. We've been, I don't know, 8 counties. We've been everywhere.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Y'all even got lost going to an alien festival. Y'all want to talk about that?
Oh.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't taken a look at one of our most recent segments, the Alien Festival in Spruce Pines, you certainly want to catch up on that segment. It was something to be seen.
Yeah. So while we're going up 221, I don't know how many of you have ever had this problem with Google Maps before, but, we're doing our thing. We're going up 221. It says we're about 8 minutes away. It tells us to take a left. You follow your map. You take your left. It continues to be a paved road for about 700 feet. And then all of a sudden, we're going uphill on a gravel road in a Honda van at an incline of about 50 degrees. Spinning tires, had to go back down to low gear. It was a fun way to get to Spruce Pines.
Yeah, it was, but it was definitely worth it. A good time.
I was not with them. I went later, and I don't know if I wanted to be with you guys or not.
Probably not.
Now I know why it took so long y'all to get there.
Yes.
But it was a fun festival. The Bigfoot Festival was fun. All these festivals are fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's cool how these little towns latch on to a genre and run with it. Yeah.
And we do like to offer a range of segments. So we really appreciate you guys, checking us out.
Yeah. Keep sending us your segment ideas, your topics. Like I say, it takes a lot of people, a lot of hours to put this together. But we've got so many topics that people want us to report on.
Yep.
That's true.
Getting messages every day.
Yeah, every day. And so on social media, people are, of course, the museum topic's a heavy topic. And the Piedmont lithium is too.
Yes.
Those are 2 hot topics in Cherville. So I'm sure we're going to be in the middle of both those. And we kind of got in the middle of the museum kind of by mistake. Jermaine and I were up there filming, and we kind of got caught up in the middle of this.
Yeah, I think this was last year around Christmas or something.
Yeah, right in the middle of December. So we kind of had been in the middle of the museum, right in the front lines of this, and we didn't really expect this to happen on the museum. We just kind of fell into it. And the Piedmont lithium deal, I don't know enough about that. I really don't. We haven't investigated that situation. People are starting to give us information and give us contacts. We really appreciate that. Outside of, I'm surprised how many people just don't know about this mine, even the local residents. There's just not been a whole lot of media. There hasn't been a whole lot of media about the museum situation either.
Which is a little surprising, especially for the Piedmont.
Yeah, I mean, it has been. I think there's been a few stories, but I think people just wait till something happens. It's just like, it has to be concrete that before they even report on it.
That's true.
Yeah. So, some people have said that we're biased. We have no reason to be biased. We'll report on anything. As you can see, if our segments were all over the place, we don't really fall into a certain genre with anything. And it's exciting to do different events and different stories.
It is. And I can understand where some people may feel we're being biased, but at the same time, we can only report on the information we're given, and we're not going to say no to an interview with anyone. But if we don't have that interview to get our evidence and information, then we can't air that side here.
Yeah. So, if you want to be part of a segment or you want to have an interview, if you got some information, we'd love to talk to you.
Yes.
We're open. Like I say, the reason this has been started is to to give some transparency and to give people a voice. Because I think in smaller communities, people don't have a voice anymore. They really don't. And this is a perfect example in the little town of Cherryville, North Carolina, where the people feel like they have no voice at all. The media has not really reported on the museum much or Piedmont Lithium much.
No, they haven't.
And I think Piedmont Lithium is a huge marketing machine right now. It's just a huge marketing machine. They're spending investor dollars. That's what they're doing. It's a huge marketing machine. They haven't mined not one mineral yet in Gaston County. It's my understanding. So they're spending investor money and going into the schools and basically just it's a huge marketing effort to win the community's trust. Is what they're doing, and that they giving away money like candy, and that's just how it is.
And not only are we hoping to do this for Cherryville, but for surrounding areas as well, such as Shelby, Gastonia, Charlotte, just making sure that those stories are heard.
Yeah, and I think Cherryville's not an isolated case. I think politics, people get caught up in the federal politics, but what gets in your pocketbook more than anything is your local politics. And that's the politics that is probably under the radar the most, is the local politics.
I can say when I was younger, living in Shelby, I almost never heard anything about the Shelby City Council doing anything.
No.
What about, okay. And then also when I was a college student, politics tended to be a little bit heavier of a topic for most of the college students, but I still didn't hear anything living in Boone about what was going on with the city council. I heard more about like what was going on with the art council than the actual politics.
Yeah. That's just because people don't report on it. And then a lot of it is just not reported on. If the information was put out there on websites where people can see it and transparent, I just think it would be more engaging and people would trust their government leaders better. I think.
Oh, yes. By the way, if you look right here above me is where I'm going to put that when I edit this video. So on some posts on Facebook, there's a little send message button. If you accidentally click that, you'll get an automated response from whoever it's from. So if you receive anything from our messenger account, understand we probably did not send it to you on purpose and you probably accidentally clicked the button. Because we do have an option to send a message to ask people if they would like to follow us, but I personally feel that would be a little bit overstepping and am never going to hit that button. So if you receive something from us and you're not someone who we want to directly interview, understand we did not send that. And please do tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, that's AI working. That's robots working.
Yeah, so if you've received a message from Wise News Network, maybe sending you our latest segment or whatnot, more than likely that was not sent from us. That was maybe you've interacted with one of the segments and you've actually accidentally probably sent it to yourself.
And I am a Cherryville native. I've lived here all my life. And Jermaine lives here and Mason lives here. So, hi, Mason, tell who your grandfather was.
Yeah, I'm going to do that again. Everyone who's met me so far, my great-grandfather is W. Blaine Beam. His name's on the intermediate school. So, yeah, saying I'm not from here, not exactly correct. Just saying.
Yeah, all of us may not have been born here, but we all certainly have a similar goal in mind, and that is to see Cherryville, the community that we're currently living in, thrive, and we just really want the best for, our city.
Yeah, and the downtown issue, people think we're against the downtown. We're not against anything. I like that the buildings are getting fixed up. I like that some money's being spent downtown. I don't think it's the economic driver of downtown. I would love to have some restaurants and I would love to have some things, but it's your identity. Cosmetically, you need a downtown that looks nice. And it is your identity, but But I think focusing 100, well, not 100%, but if the majority of your attention is on downtown and a majority of your economic development is just focused on downtown, I just think that's short-sightedness. I don't think you just, I mean, if ever a building is fixed up downtown and everyone was retail and they were fully operating, it would still be very low tax income to the city. It just would. I mean, it's hard to compete against Walmart and some of the franchises. I mean, the franchises produce a lot of income.
And that's kind of a follow-up point from that is there's not a lot of room for Cherville to grow in downtown. We can beautify it and make it nicer all we want, but the growth is going to happen out near Walmart on 150, on the main roads where there's actually space to have larger buildings installed. And Cherville needs it. It needs more traffic to the area, so that way more and more fast food chains, other vendors, it will make them want to come to the area whenever we have higher traffic.
Yeah, we need, more things to do for the kids, but, be careful what you wish for. You go getting into being a 20 and 30,000 population, you're going to have more homeless. You're going to have more issues. And most of the people that I talk to that move to Cherryville move because it's a small town.
Mm-hmm.
They move here for the ruralness of this area. So, approving the cluster homes and all that, I just see a lot of the decisions that's been made in the past year totally off of revenue, totally off of money. And if both those neighborhoods go through, that's adding another close to 1,000 homes in Cherryville, just in 2 neighborhoods. So that's another, 2,000 to 3,000 people?
Yes. And then the other problem, I live personally on Requay, where one of them is planned to be going eventually. That one, I think they said they're trying to break ground on that one near 2030. But the problem we already have on Requay, which we've been reporting for years, is one, people speed up and down it. People will go 80 miles per hour on that road. The reason that's happening is, hot-headed high school students are getting off of school and they're having fun. But the other thing that happens on Ridge Street, which is the road the high school is actually on, is during the day it's already backed up. Can you imagine how backed up it's going to be with 1,000 more cars worth of traffic without anything being done?
I don't know. The cluster home, that's a hot thing in the urban areas like Charlotte, the bigger cities. And it's a money grab for the developers. I mean, they can put more houses on an acre of land. Mm-hmm. They make more money off of it. Mm-hmm. It's just a money grab. And I just think the decisions made in the past year as far as the city of Cherryville, it's just been totally about money. And sometimes that can get you in trouble. So does Cherryville need more amenities? Yes. Does it need a few more things? Yes. But we're just a town of 6,200 people or 64, conflicting exactly what it is. It changes. But, there's nothing wrong with staying sort of small, but we're not trying to prevent growth either. You have to progress, but you got to do it smart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. This is Hoot Gives a Hoot roundtable discussion. We just thought we'd call it that. It's just like a newscast, just sitting around the table talking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in the comments, you can blast us, agree with us, disagree. We don't care. I mean, that's what makes it funny. We get a kick out of seeing some of the comments.
Yeah, definitely continue, interacting with our segments. We really appreciate you guys. And, what you guys say is important. We'd love to hear it. You guys are part of the community, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. So definitely let us know in the comments.
Also, this is a common problem with most social media channels, but 95% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you're making it to this point in the video, if you could hit that button for us when it pops up in a couple of seconds, minutes, however long it's going to happen from here, I'll put it up there. It'll be up there. But if you could just hit that subscribe button if you've been following us, that does a lot. We're really trying to grow, and the more subscribers we have, the more it gets suggested to, and more people can subscribe. So
Yeah. And, we don't have sponsors, we may one day. We try not to have a bunch of sponsors. If you see a YouTube commercial, that's YouTube putting it on there.
Oh, yeah.
We're not getting a dime off that. So YouTube is putting commercials on there. We're not making any money off that.
Yeah.
Nope.
But we are growing every day on all platforms. So definitely don't forget to, like Mason said, subscribe to that YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
And Twitter.
And Twitter.
Yeah, all the major social platforms. And we do have a website, wisenewsnetwork.com.
That's where you can find the documentation that we've been putting up.
And most of our segments are up there. There's links to social media. So our website is wisenewsnetwork.com.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good information there. Send us some ideas if you've got any suggestions. We're not your normal news network, nor do we want to be.
Nope.
We can basically report how we want to report, talk about what we want to talk about. It's a free country, free speech, and that's what is great about America.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always open, to you guys' suggestions. So if you have any ideas or segment ideas, shoot them our way.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Who Gives a Hoot Roundtable Discussion. Until next time, I'm Rusty Wise.
I'm Jermaine Gash.
And I'm Mason Beam.
Have a great day.